professor of literature. So today, my topic about environmental protection and sustainable development is from the humanistic perspective. I am going to talk about four major aspects. As you can see from the screen, I am, excuse me, sharing. First of all, I would begin with environmental protection in China and the Latin America, a general look, and then perspectives from Anthropocene, a very hot topic, when not really that new because it initiated back more than 20 years ago. A very important perspective, I believe, if we discuss questions related to environmental protection. The third part of my talk will be focusing on how we can really have a sustainable environment. That is, we should try to build a community of species as advocated by our President Xi Jinping. And lastly, I would conclude my talk with sustainable development, a new narrative, which is a humanistic narrative. Let us first look at the general pictures in China and Latin America. China, as we know, actually has long been one of the leading powers in environmental protections. In 2018, the Constitution of the People's Republic of China was amended to include the concept of ecological civilization building as part of amendments that emphasized environmental conservation and the scientific outlook on development. And in 2020, President Xi Jinping announced that China aims to break peak emission. China as a country, we promise to peak our emission before 2030 and go carbon neutral by 2060 in accordance with the Paris Climate Accord. And we also know that in recent years, Latin American countries have also implemented a number of strong environmental laws and policies. About half of the countries in the region have created specialized environmental units to improve enforcement in the sector. Countries like Venezuela and Brazil have established a range of targeted regulations in the past 2 decades. And Bolivia granted legal rights to nature. Nature as human beings have the same rights, have legal rights. So Bolivia granted legal rights to nature in 2010, following the pioneer example of Ecuador in recognizing a constitutional environmental rights in 2008. And this year, one of my PhD students from Ecuador just got his PhD under the supervision of me. So I know a little about this country. Ecuador has also added specific environmental crimes to its penal code in 2020. So if you pollute, harm the environment, it could be the same as you hurt a human being. It's a crime. So environmental protection cooperation between Latin America and China has gained significant momentum in recent years, driven by mutual interests in sustainable development, climate change mitigation, and biodiversity conservation in sustainable in our mutual efforts. Several Latin American countries, such as Brazil, Chile, and Argentina, have established bilateral agreements with China to promote environmental protection. These agreements often focus on areas like renewable energy, forestation, and pollution control. And the China CELAC, the Community of Latin America and Caribbean States Cooperation Plan, emphasized sustainable development, including initiatives related to climate change, environmental protection, and renewable energy. As a professor of literature, I am especially grateful to have this opportunity to share my reflections on the promotion of sustainable development and environmental protection, because such topics are usually topics more related to economists or scientists. However, when we talk of the promotion of these crucial issues, a humanistic perspective, as I was talking with Professor Luna before the session starts, is very important. It is my contention that a humanistic perspective is indispensable in the promotion of sustainable development and environmental protection. Because while economists, scientists, and technologists may provide the public with the methods and tools for achieving such goals, it is through a humanistic lens that we can explore the deeper questions of why we should take such efforts and to what ends they are directed. That is the general outlook. Now let us come to my second part, environmental protection perspectives from the Anthropocene. Before we move on to this section, let us look at two quotes. The first quote is from The Dialectics of Nature by Friedrich Engels. You know, about 100 years ago, Engels already was warning us that here is what he says: let us not, however, flatter ourselves overmuch on account of how human victories over nature. For each such victory, nature takes its revenge on us. Each victory, it is true, in the first place, brings about the result we expected, but in the second and third places, it has quite different unforeseen effects, which only too often cancel the first. And in 2021, at the Leaders Climate Summit, our President Xi Jinping said the following remarks: since mankind entered the era of industrial civilization, while creating enormous material wealth, it has also accelerated the seizure of natural resources, breaking the balance of the Earth's ecosystem, and deep-rooted contradictions between mankind and nature have becoming increasingly apparent. In recent years, climate change, loss of biodiversity, intensified deforestation, and the frequent occurrence of extreme weather. Here is a statement made by President Xi Jinping in 2021. So these two quotes highlight the persistent and escalating tension between humanity and nature. We can see that despite being separated by over a century, Engels and Xi Jinping offer remarkably similar warnings about the human impact on the environment. The Earth today is facing more severe challenges than it did in Engel's time. And much of this is due, as President Xi noted, to human activities. The influence of humanity on the planet has become so profound that the term Anthropocene is now used to describe our current geological epoch. At the heart of the concept of Anthropocene lies the profound impact of human activity on the planet, which we must acknowledge has been largely detrimental, resulting in the loss of biodiversity, climate change, ocean acidification, etc. It is human activity that is propelling the domino effect of extinction. Fossil fuel emissions and deforestation are driving up atmospheric carbon dioxide levels, leading to global warming. This past summer, Shanghai and Hangzhou have experienced the hottest weather in summer for over half a century's time. And also the absorption of carbon dioxide by the ocean is causing seawater acidification, which in turn affects a wide range of marine organisms. On the evening of July 21, 2020, in year 2022, exactly about 2 years ago, the International Union for the Conservation of Nature updated its red list of globally threatened species, declaring the white sturgeon extinct and the Yangtze sturgeon extinct in the wild. This is the Yangtze River Yangtze sturgeon. It was declared, it was announced extinct 2022. And here, under this picture are some of the animals going extinct in Latin America. So these extinctions are stark reminders of the accelerating decline of biodiversity on Earth, which some researchers believe signals the onset of the sixth mass extinction. We are now in the age of the sixth mass extinction. To many researchers, this is a reality beyond dispute. Current trends suggest that humanity is entering a mass extinction event that poses a very grave threat to life on Earth. And human activity being the major reason for this mass extinction. The extinctions in the wild that have already been announced represent only a very small fraction of the ongoing sixth extinction, which is rapidly spreading across the globe. And in the 1990s, the renowned Kenya penologist Richard Leakey introduced this concept, the sixth extinction, a topic that has since garnered significant attention from both the scientific and international communities. And the 2020 United Nations Global Biodiversity Outlook 5 report highlighted that humanity has only a few years to avert this sixth mass extinction. Professor Robert Coe at the University of Hawaii underscores that while the dramatic increase in species extinction rates and the decline in populations of numerous plants and animals are well documented, there remain a denial that these phenomena really constitute a mass extinction. this denial, why do people say there is no such thing as extinction? According to Professor Coe, that is because when we look at animals that are going on extinct, we mainly look at the mammals and the birds, while neglecting the vast majority of invertebrates that form the foundation of global biodiversity. Howe asserts that including invertebrates, that kind of animals without the central bone, invertebrates, is essential to confirming that we are witnessing the onset of the sixth mass extinction in Earth's history. However, he emphasizes humans are the only species capable of manipulating the biosphere on a large scale. We are not merely another species evolving in response to external influences. Rather, we are the only species that has the ability to make conscious decisions about our future and the planet's biodiversity. So when we talk of these things like mass extinction, usually we think it is human beings' fault. But not every scientist agree with the statement that it is all human beings in general causes this problem. There is a famous discussion between Bernard Stiegler. He passed away during the pandemic. There was a talk between him and the German philosopher Peter Sloterdijk. Let's see whether I have this. This is another one. He said that when you send an email to humanity@planet.earth, this email will be returned to you because there is no such thing as humanity. Humanity in general doesn't exist. The reason why such philosophers and theorists pose such perspectives is because they don't think it is people. It is like people from Latin America, the Caribbean, and China, and those from developed countries like America and the UK are the same to cause damages to the Earth. They think it is not human kind per se in general. Rather, it is those who are in control of large amount of capitals that have caused more damages to the Earth. I think in environmental protection conversations, such perspectives are not totally foreign to us. But I think there is some important points here. I have shortly worked in North America. And one of my experiences, I just came back this summer from San Francisco. Speaking of San Francisco, we know the American writer Mark Twain famously said that the coldest summer, the coldest winter he has ever spent is the summer in San Francisco. The coldest winter I ever spent is in New York. is in New York, because in the summer, if you go to libraries, I was at Columbia University as a Fulbright research scholar. In summer, if you go there, any public sectors, freezing cold. You have to bring an over coat. It's not like, and in winter, I also spend the winter in New York City. New York should be very cold there, but actually inside, it is extremely hot and warm. Outside could be degrees under 15. Inside, I could wear my silk pajamas at home working. So, professors, many from the Marxist perspective would argue that, not everyone should be responsible equally. So, according to a Los Angeles Times report, this is a somewhat oldish number. This statistic is from 2013. According to that paper, it is said that wealth inequality is only getting worse today. Of course, this goes without saying. The richest 1% own nearly half of all global wealth, and only a tiny fraction of the roughly 7 billion people in the world accounts for 46% of the estimated 241 trillion in money, property, and other material resources available. So the richest 10%, meanwhile, can claim 86% of global wealth. 10% richest people occupied about 86% of the global wealth. So it is evident that certain segments of humanity, particularly those in affluent Western societies, bear a greater responsibility for the environmental catastrophes currently confronting our planet than those in the developing countries like China and countries in Latin America. However, it is also tragically ironic that the latter are often more vulnerable to the devastating consequences of climate change than the former. When we think of the history of the Caribbean, it is often associated with two traumas. Whenever you think of the history of Caribbean, you think of the two major traumas. One is the virtual, total, and rapid removal of a large Aboriginal population following the initial European contact, and the forced transference of many thousands of Africans from their homelands under conditions of slavery to support a system of plantation agriculture. So one is removal of Aboriginals. Another is introduction as indentured laborers with the end of slavery. There are large numbers of African slaveries flush into the Caribbean area through the Black Atlantic, as it is famously described. But according to David Watt, we should add another trauma since 1492, the year when Columbus entered the West Indies. The third trauma should be the environmental degeneration, which is now of equal and growing importance to the people living in the Caribbean area. So this mass globalization of capital not only get rid of Aboriginal people, not only uprooted millions and millions of African people from their homeland to work on the plantations of the Caribbean. An equally important trauma, a very tragic one, is the environmental damage that such activities caused to the Caribbean country. So in the discourse about climate change, as it has developed in the West academia, media and policymaking circles over the past decade or so, another story has taken hold. It says that the problem that has been created by all of us, whenever we think of climate change, climate catastrophe, we shouldn't forget that although people from Latin America, people from countries like Latin America and China, we are sharing our equal responsibility to better our environment in general, planet Mother Earth. But in history, we shouldn't be held equally responsible. This is very important. So because of such perspectives, Marxist theories like Jason Moore, they think at the beginning, I introduced the concept of Anthropocene, a time focusing on human beings' impact, a geological impact on the Earth. But these Marxist scholars think that we should use Capitalocene. So it's not human beings alike. Rather, it should be capitals. That it is the greediness of the capital accumulation that has really caused the defining damages on the condition of Mother Earth. We have to remember this. But toward the end, I should come to a more general picture. But as scholars, we should look at a more holistic picture. So as you can see from the screen, Jason Moore has argued that the series of major changes in the Earth's biosphere over recent centuries are rooted not in humanity per se, but in the operations of capital. He suggests that capital is not an external force acting upon ecosystems. It is not just an abstract being, but rather a way of organizing nature. And this method of organizing nature creates an ecological system or world ecology. According to Jason Moore, capitalism is a world ecology. They exploit nature for the accumulation of capital for the capitalists. So Jason Moore contends that all natural environments and ecosystems.
好的，我在网上找到了这个 view of major challenges in the earth affairs.
Sorry.
Fear of everything, self-sorrows.
I don't know what this is. I accidentally clicked my theory on the screen. Sorry. So climate change is not the creation of the mere existence of millions of humans who inhabit the planet. Although now, whenever we talk about the issue of climate change in the Western academia, it is put in a large background of Anthropocene. But we have to emphasize that we shouldn't look at all human beings as the same. So Although climate change is not the creation of the mere existence of billions of humans who inhabit the planet, but is wrought by the few who control the means of production and make the central decisions about energy use. In what is more capitalocene than Anthropocene, a head-on confrontation with fossil capital is imperative if we are to prevent extreme climate events like the hurricanes that have devastated. We know that in the Caribbean area, hurricane is one of the frequent climate catastrophes. 7 years ago, in 2017, in September, Hurricane Maria suddenly accelerated to Category 5 system, one of the most explosive intensifications of a hurricane on record, slammed straight into Dominica. The Prime Minister of Dominica this year visited China. I met him in Beijing. Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerritt. At that time, even Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerritt's home is totally destroyed. He himself was homeless, and he later addressed at the United Nations General Assembly. He said that I come to you straight from the front lines of the war. It is a war there. As Dominicans bear the brunt of climate change, we are shouldering the consequences of the actions of others, actions that endanger our very existence, and all for the enrichment of a few elsewhere. It is not the Dominicans who caused Hurricane Maria, but they are the people who suffered the most. As Prime Minister Skerritt said, they are bearing actions of others. So the descendants of the slaves that inhabit Dominica had done nothing to heat up this planet, and neither had the tiny surviving indigenous population. Subsistence farmers who resorted to taxi driving or street vending to supplement their incomes, they had negligible carbon footprints and zero power over global energy supplies. Yet in the assault from the hyper hurricane, the main victims are them, not those who caused the major problems. Is this fair? This is not fair. So whenever we look at issues like environmental protection, we should remember, yes, human beings in general are responsible, but not every human being are equally responsible. It is those who have the more capital are more responsible. So the concept of Anthropocene overlooks the violent interventions and impacts of colonialism and capitalism. There is actually another term called colonial scene. So some post-colonial theorists also argue that it is not only the capital that caused the mass extinction we are facing now. Rather, more specifically, they think it is colonialism. So there are many, in the academic discussion, there are many different concepts. Peter Stoys has this is this slide. Peter Stoys discusses the daunting ecological and the environmental challenges of the Anthropocene. This is his very famous book. In his book, he says that he has another very important point. According to Professor Stoys, what is really at, because when we talk about environmental problems, we think human beings are endangered. We will have no future. Human beings have no future. But look, according to Professor Stoys, he said that it is the future of humanity, not the planet itself, that is at stake. The Earth, Mother Earth, has survived countless catastrophes throughout history and will continue to function even if the environment becomes inhospitable for human survival. So it is us who are going to lose a place to continue to exist as human beings. The Earth will continue to exist. So this is another perspective. So don't lament over the fate of Mother Earth. It is us, human beings. So with such perspectives in mind, here we need to try to answer such questions. Can human communities acknowledge our own status as agents of ecological destruction, while also remembering the more vulnerable groups who bear the brunt of this violence? This is a topic that needs to be emphasized again and again. Yes, it is human beings in general that caused the ecological catastrophe. But we should also remember it is the more vulnerable groups that are suffer from such catastrophes as those suffered in the 2017 Hurricane Maria in Dominica. So this is something we must remember. Conversely, can members of human communities connect our actions as environmental destroyers with the awareness that too may become victims of environmental catastrophe? Obviously, the present moment of crisis demands a rethinking of the relationship between nature and humankind, and the development of new bioethics, rather than prolonged debates over whether this era should be termed as the Anthropocene, the Capitalocene, or the Colonialocene, etc. It is not that important. What is more important is that human beings in general, we are going extinct. So now let us look at a very short slide made by the United Nations. This is the slide I was trying to show is a video made by the United Nations about human being facing the fate of going extinct. When we talk about such things, we should remember that really we are all responsible, but we are not all equally responsible. That is something, especially in the context of China and Latin America context, both as developing countries, we should remember this. We are aware of this, but we are also aware of our responsibilities as human beings. Countries like Latin America and China, we are doing our part. You know, in the leaders climate summit, President Xi Jinping proposed a new concept to address the environmental protection and climate change issues at a philosophical value. In his talks, he said we should build, I want us to remember this concept. This is the key concept toward we should build, President Xi Jinping said, a community of species. If we want to save human beings from the fate of mass extinction, we should try to build a community, not when we think of community, you know, we are, I think we're all familiar with the Committee of Shared Future for Mankind. But in order to have a community of shared future for mankind, we should also build a community of species, including all forms of life, not only human beings. That is to say, we should try to protect other forms of life from going extinct. And in this, because I didn't realize all the time is counted, so I will just very briefly summarize my idea. You know, in order to build this community of species, we should be aware of a concept of speciesism. You know, for very long, human beings in general, we think we are superior to animals. So like in human world, we have racism, we have feminism. Actually, there is also speciesism, which means human beings over other forms of life. We should get rid of speciesism, treating all forms of life equal, so that we can build a community of species. And to build this community of species, what is very important is that technology alone is not important. We need to educate people to really have a new narrative, have a new totally new understanding of what it means to be humanity. You know, Marx famously said in his 1844 manuscript, man is species being. We are species as other forms of species. And to best carry out our responsibilities, we should remember that we are not alone in this. That is why we are having this virtual conference, even though although we can't be together, we are still trying to do such things because it is of great importance. in the construction of community species, what is important from a humanistic perspective is that technology alone won't solve the problem. In order to protect our environment, we have tried to develop many new technologies, but that is not enough, because if we look at the history of Cold War, Russia and America try to maintain peace with technology, nuclear power. Does it succeed? No. So in this more serious war against climate change, technology alone is not important. What is more important, if not equal, what is more important for me is people's way of thinking. We should really try to think of ways to build a community of species. You know, if we believe in a shared future, we want to have a shared future. That is to say, human beings won't go extinct. We must seek a new narrative mode to preserve and represent our history. Try to rethink the cultural traditions that have shaped us and reconsider the place of our own cultural traditions within the global network. So we are not alone. We should try to work together to combat, to fight this problem. My concluding remarks is sustainability may be more important than speed. Sustainability is more important than speed. When we think of the development, we should remember that. And a net zero world won't lead to true sustainability. Let us set aside what divides us and unite as one global community. For if we fail to do so, we may face extinction as a species. Climate change is our collective fate, but through communal effort, we have the potential to alter that fate and to build a community with a shared future for ourselves, for our children, and for all humanity. In doing this, we must remember that we should work together to also construct a community of species. So if I use one sentence to summarize what I have to say today is, let us try to build a community of species, which means human beings are also species, one form of human species, like other forms of, all other forms of life. Sorry, I didn't realize of the time limit, so the last part is much rushed. That's all. Thank you very much.